In this video, I'm going to teach you the scientific fat loss strategy that I use with hundreds of clients across the world, and I'm just going to give it away for you for free. So we're going to be using a case study with one of my clients. His name is Joe, and I'm going to kind of show you step by step the exact plan I put together through him, where he was starting, the macronutrients, what we changed each week, and we're just going to give it all away for you guys who are out there watching these videos and struggling to get lean. So if you guys don't know me by now, my name's Adam Bundle. I'm an online fat loss professional, and I specialize in hormonal priming, body recomposition, higher level forms of nutrition through metabolism manipulation. So I've worked with hundreds of men around the world, getting them to elite level shape, not using low carbohydrate diets, not using fasting, but by using an actual mechanism of science, by dialing in the correct nutrition with each key factor that plays in accordance to their overall hormonal panel. So we're going to kind of go through it, and I'm just going to give it away for you guys for the benefit of helping you guys out. If you're somebody who has been struggling and you just want to cut through the BS and say, let's get going right now, there'll be a link in the description that you can apply and see if it's a good fit for you to work with me. So getting right into the video, we're going to go through step by step. So what is crazy about this transformation in general is that it's going to break a lot of the beliefs that you currently have about how the body works, how the body looks, and weight in general. So going down here even to like his side-by-sides, he started at 1,700 calories at 193, and this is what he looked like. So we were able to raise his calories to 3,000 calories, which, yes, he's up 6 pounds, but he actually leaned out and got stronger. And then the back end of his actual cutting phase, he's at 1,900 calories, 183 pounds, and he is absolutely shredded as can be. And so this process of metabolic priming is the same process I use with each and every single one of my clients. So, you know, Joe came to me, and I'll kind of walk you through his initial consultation with me. So has been at 225, has tried keto, fasting, and I know a lot of you guys watching this right now probably have tried it too, has hit a plateau. A lot of guys have came to me in a plateau as well. 1,700 calories a day, has tried different programs that just kind of leave him stuck, and it hit a dead end, and, you know, he just kind of plateaus out. So currently, 1,700 calories, doesn't have a plan for his workouts. We need to get Joe out of his extreme caloric deficit and set him up with the correct macronutrient formulas, right? So anyways, when we did our initial consultation, and I'll kind of give you my initial thoughts just right off the top of my head when I did meet with Joe for the first time. So he had been stuck in a fat loss plateau, eating severely low amounts of calories. And what happens over time when you eat severely low amounts of calories in a caloric deficit for an extended period of time, you start to degrade your metabolism, right? So they've even done studies in rats that say when you go into a caloric deficit for an extended period of time, that you actually start to degrade up to 266 calories over a 3-week period, which means that you burn 266 less calories at the end of week 3 in a caloric deficit as you did in the first week. And so what we do with all of our clients is we work them up in a metabolic priming phase, right? So we slowly work their calories up to gain leverage, right? And I know a lot of people out there are skeptical about this and think that, like, why would I raise my calories? I'm in a deficit. Like, don't I just need a calorie deficit? Not when you've screwed up all of your hormones, right? You're actually more better off starting by raising your calories and putting yourself in a more metabolic healthy position. So, like, for instance, like, I want to kind of use this diagram right here to kind of show you in a concept before I show you what I did and change step by step with Joe, what it kind of looks like, right? So a lot of clients that come to me. One, they may be doing 40 minutes of cardio, maybe 1,700 calories like Joe, but his metabolism was just absolutely shot as can be. So the first thing we need to do before we do anything is get this up here, right? And think about it like this. If Joe came to me and, you know, I was just some simple trainer with no education and hadn't spent thousands of dollars on my education, you know, we would be like, okay, let's put you in a calorie deficit. So we have to go to 1,600, 1,500, 13, and then at that point, you're just eating, you know, an unhealthy amount of food. So what we actually do, first of all, is we actually start to raise these calories, right? So with Joe, we started to raise these up, and we were able to get him to 3,000 calories, and we actually cut all cardio. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the metabolism to do most of the heavy lifting for us, right? And so as we work these up slowly, what the goal is to get the metabolism as high as possible without doing any cardio and getting more food under our belt to prime the metabolism to later be into more of a fat loss phase. So anyways, how we do this is using carbohydrate metabolism, right? So carbohydrate metabolism as opposed to fat adaptation, where we are actually positioning the body to actually burn carbohydrates, right? So in a lot of cases with guys who've come to me with an overall keto diet, low-carb diet, or the overall fad diets that you see on the internet, one, they've degraded a lot of their hormones over the past, but what you guys don't know about low-carb diets and overall keto diets is it starts to actually degrade hormones within the overall thyroid, like T3, for instance. T3 is the active hormone inside of your thyroid, and when you start to degrade metabolism, you actually start to lose a lot of active T3, or when you start to lower the carbohydrates, your T3 starts to lower as well. So what we do is we position the clients into a more carbohydrate metabolism state. We set a fat cap, we set a protein goal, and we work on getting the carbohydrates up and transitioning the body into a carbohydrate metabolism state. So how we do this is very simple. We set a protein goal, we set a fat goal, and then we slowly start to work carbohydrates over time into their diet. And so what happens, as you can see with Joe, and I'll kind of walk you through step by step here in a second, but he not only gained weight, yes, but he's up 1,300 more calories. He's leaner than he was when he started. He has a lot more muscle tissue, and now we have a lot more calories to actually work down from, right? And so, like, for instance, in this diagram right here, so now instead of doing, starting at 1,700 calories, we can start a cut at 3,000 calories doing no cardio with a metabolism that is golden, right? And so a lot of things that you guys don't understand about the metabolism, it doesn't degrade over time. A lot of you guys out there, and I work with guys who 30 to 60 years old. That's mainly who I do work with. And a lot of guys come to us and like, oh, my metabolism has slowed over time. That's not true. Like, your metabolism doesn't slow over time. What happens is you get less active, you degrade in muscle tissue, which allows less metabolic presence, because the more muscle tissue you have, the more metabolically healthy you are. So like, they've even done multiple studies that show even at 90 years old, your metabolism only really degrades about 20%. So if you're 40, 50, maybe even 60 years old, you don't have a slow metabolism, you just don't have the correct macronutrients. Anyways, going into this, what we actually did, we started Joe off at 2,100 calories, so a little bit higher than where he was when he first started with us, or before he came to us. And what we're trying to do is each week as he checked in, I would raise these carbohydrates, right? So it would start with like 25 more grams of carbohydrates, and as he checked in, and like, we wouldn't make changes every single week. So yes, my clients check in physically every single week, but I don't make changes every single week, because you want to take it slow enough to where we're getting carbohydrates into our diet, but the body's accepting them and adapting to it. So like, where most people go wrong in like a keto diet or a low carb diet, trying to get out of it, is they just go back to eating right what they were eating before, which creates a gap, and the body floods with glucose and doesn't know what to do with it. And so you just gain weight very fast. What you have to do is to slowly add these over time, and so that you're slowly transitioning the body, right? So we don't like change everything every single week, but like, you can even see within the first few weeks how he's actually started to physically change and starting to tighten up. Because what we're doing right here is, yes, we're targeting T3 levels, the active thyroid hormone, but we're also growing muscle tissue simultaneously, right? So we're actually losing body fat and gaining muscle from a more scientific perspective, using the mechanisms that we use. And as he starts to go up, the same thing happens. 25 more grams of carbohydrates. We added actually a little bit of protein right here, and this is the week he checked in, and we had messaged back and forth, and I was like, whoa. Right? So now look how much more presence his abs have, like how much his body just pops, how much his muscle striations just pop. And that's because we are losing body fat, but more importantly, we are growing muscle tissue. And in a lot of cases, guys will come and they will have a misconception about weight loss versus fat loss. Like, weight loss is just losing weight, right? Joe didn't lose weight, he gained weight, right? And a lot of people see, the weight going up on the scale and they immediately freak out. And the thing is like, you've had to put into context overall muscle tissue as well, because you might be up in muscle tissue and down in body fat, be the exact same weight, and, might be progressing correctly. So it's weight loss versus fat loss. And there's a big misconception about getting to a dream level physique about weight loss versus fat loss. And it's just understanding that weight doesn't really matter. Physical composition matters more. And so, anyways, like, over time, we did the same thing. Raise these calories. You can start to see how he gets even leaner. And so we got to the point where, like, you can kind of see, and I'll show you what it looks like when you reach the top of a metabolic priming phase. You can kind of see within some clients' plans when, like, they start to get a little bit watery. And what I mean by watery is that, like, check out like kind of his lower region right here, and he starts to get a little less hard of a look. That's usually the point when I can usually tell that we're at the peak of a metabolic priming phase. It's a specific look that all of our clients have when they get to the peak metabolic priming phase, maybe a little bit watery in the midsection, maybe a bit watery on the side shot. But I mean, like, take this for instance. Like, this is the transformation he made eating more food in this photo right here. So he came to us at 1,700 calories, and now he's at 3,000 calories, so technically 1,300 calories more per day, he's up. And this is the transformation he made. But now that we have more calories under our belt, we are up in food, we have more leverage, right? And so now that he's at 3,000 calories, he's doing zero cardio, his metabolism is up here. Now we can start going to an actual fat loss phase, right? And so what that looks like is we add a little bit of cardio, lower a little bit of food, and just a typical cutting phase that you guys have probably heard of before. But what we do is we make sure to take it slow enough to where we maintain hunger levels, right? So the maintenance of hunger levels, making sure that we're not getting too hungry, but we're slowly starting to add things in. So like the first week for him, what I did was I simply just cut 75 grams of carbs and 20 grams of protein, right? And then the next week, he starts to lean out in his side shot, and we lower food a little bit more. We raise cardio for 4 times a week at 25 minutes, starts to lean out even more. And over the course of this time, like, we are making sure that, one, his metabolic rate is staying healthy. He is not entering any high levels of fatigue, and making sure the body's like working properly against us, because where most people go wrong is they kind of push through fatigue. And fatigue in the form of like overall cortisol is detrimental when it comes to losing body fat, right? Because fatigue, cortisol will quite literally prohibit you from losing body fat and prohibit you from gaining muscle tissue. And so like you need to manage fatigue levels, you need to manage energy, hunger levels, because those are the KPIs that you watch and what you make changes based upon. So like anyways, we actually gave him a refeed right here, and we dropped calories afterwards, right? And so the refeed is a purposeful caloric refeed in the form of carbohydrates to spike and maintain T3 levels, right? The active thyroid hormone, right? And the same thing applies. And when he hit a little bit of a standstill, we would just lower the protein, lower the carbs a little bit more, wait till his body fluctuated, wait till his body stopped. And this is where we checked in this week at 1,900 calories, but look how absolutely shredded he is, right? Because one, we took it slow, yes, but two, we're not making changes every single week. As long as Joe checks in 0.5 to 1.5 pounds down from the last week, we just roll right through it. This is how you manage overall hunger levels, because if you try to lower food too fast, your hunger levels will spike, right? We don't want that, because when hunger starts to spike, that's leptin and ghrelin starting to work against us. And the slower we take it, the more manageable it is, but the more sustainable it is. So like he's quite literally eating 200 more calories in the photo that he checked in last week than he was when he started with us. And this is the transformation from the top of the metabolic priming phase to the back end this week. And notice just how much tighter, how much leaner, how much drier, how much his obliques are just popping. And that's what we do, right? And so like he dropped a good amount of weight as well, 16 pounds, but he looks like he is down 20 because we've maintained all the muscle tissue that he had gained. And then we just shredded away the body fat from him. And, a lot of people will get this strategy wrong, and a lot of people will get losing body fat wrong is because they don't like put into context like overall body composition, overall weight versus fat loss, and other concepts as well. And like this is what it looks like to create a sustainable physique, lean, strong physique year round. You put the body in a position where you're not eating terribly low amounts of carbohydrates, terribly low amounts of calories, but it's manageable. Like Joe, when he checked in with his KPIs, his hunger 1 out of 10 was at 1. His energy 1 out of 10 was at 10. At 1,900 calories and absolutely shredded. So like you think this is manageable and maintainable for Joe being not hungry at all and having 10 energy? Absolutely. Like this is what it looks like, and this is what a great transformation looks like. But a lot of people will get this wrong because all of this is withheld within the actual macronutrients and what each specific macronutrient has to do when it comes to overall dieting, fat loss, muscle gain, and making sure to get to a crazy physique like such. And I have hundreds of these clients that I work with. I have over 40 client testimonials on my page currently, like showing you all of this step by step. And I even have a case study and a testimonial I did with Joe, and I'll pull it up right now so you can kind of hear what he said. 1,500 calories per day, and like you're shredded. like if I would have told you like when you get into the program, hey, like 1,500 calories, but you're going to be arguably, would you probably say best physique you've ever had?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been an athlete for my entire life. Even when I ran track when I was in college, I mean, I was in good shape, but now I mean, like I have 6-pack abs showing. So it's crazy to see what I have going on right now. I think I'm up to like 3,000 calories now per day, and And still, the shocking part is where I'm at weight wise and physicality wise. Like, this is what I look like now without a shirt on. It's the craziest thing. I tried everything. I tried keto. I tried doing a little bit of carnivore, done a couple of different programs that I've come across on like Instagram and stuff like that I've tried. And just kind of plateaued out and forth. So you take a much more hands-on approach with that. You know, like I said, that's been really the biggest key in comparison to other programs that I've done in the past. You know, I've said it and I'll probably continue to say, you know, just thank you for what you've done because it's been huge.
It's quite literally up. So like as you can see right here, like one, the proofs in the concept, right? Like I'll show you all the testaments, all the testimonials that we have. But this process is a scientifically proven process that I specialize in, metabolic priming, process of manipulating the metabolism, right? And you can search it online because, you know, it will state in depth about what it is about and what we do here. And, you know, we perfected it, and we perfected this in the form of fat loss and getting people to an elite level physique. So if you're somebody who has been struggling and you're like Joe, you tried keto, you tried carnivore, and you tried other programs or maybe even personal trainers that didn't give you the right attention, sign up for a time down below. There's going to be a link. We work with 150 guys, and we have a community of guys who are destined to get to a dream level physique, and you're more than happy to be a part of it if you do qualify. So if that sounds like you've been struggling, then click the link in the description, and I'll see you on the call.